It's like hyperbole. Is this all the video is? What are you confused about here? Yes, you're always going to be criticized online. Yes, there's always going to be some amount of people criticizing you, especially when it's a contentious issue. Oh man, no way he actually pulled this. That's crazy. Showing an ability to engage with any argument whatsoever. I have no reason to believe he's intelligent enough to consciously manipulate this, because he's trying to appeal to the audience. He's trying to say the right thing. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. This is so pathetic. What am I watching? And he's sitting there crying like, oh, it's just not fun to be on internet drama anymore. Shut up, dude. Shut up. Wait, for real? MoistCritical made a video on the debate? Oh no.
Spencer Howard super chatted $1.34. Prove the point by misinterpreting it deliberately.
Thank you for the $2. Okay. Critical debate. Hope video just. Let's see. Okay, guys. Let's see what he says. All right, so we're going to watch the new MoistCritical video. He has finally put up a video addressing the Sneako debate. He did agree to upload the debate to his channel. It doesn't seem like that's what's happened. He's uploaded a 25-minute video instead. Obviously, he's just stepped down from his podcast in the last 24 hours. Seems like he's quite upset about the way it's gone. He's been coping on stream several times. So we're going to get into it. We're going to see what MoistCritical is saying about the MoistCritical situation.
Heavens to Betsy, what a week, huh, sports fans? Holy Toledo. Yeah, so MoistCritikals in a big oopsie-poopsie situation here. It reminds me of the time in Moonfall when KC Houseman sacrifices himself and dies of cringe to become...
this isn't funny, this isn't funny, this isn't funny. This isn't funny. It's very cringe. Stop playing into the meme.
The moon. Yeah, so, being serious now, since this has become such a big issue, I've been in a lot of drama recently. I'm in hot water, and I'm biting on the fart bubbles that pop up in the bathtub here. It is a lot. So let's start with the most recent one today. My retirement. I didn't know I was retiring. That's news to me. I'm as shocked as all of you are. I had a ton of...
Okay, well, people were really saying he was retiring. I think people were saying he was retiring. I think it was pretty clear it was about the podcast, and that he was trying to step down his amount of time spent on the internet, quote unquote. I think anyone was saying he was retiring.
Fun last night playing a game called Clickleding, which is basically like a cuckoldry simulator, but for clicking against like the Lorax in a hotel room. And I just did like an old school gameplay commentary video. I was bubbly, full of jubilation. I posted it today only to learn that I'm just a big old fucking liar. Liar, liar, plants for hire, I suppose. Apparently, and I didn't know this until I posted the video, everyone was under the impression that I was quitting the internet. So I started scratching at the hair on my chinny chin, wondering, when the f did that happen? Was I sleepwalking? Do I have somnambulism? Is this some kind of, like, you know, Fight Club situation?
I mean, well, I think people are kind of, I mean, I definitely put that in my title, but I'm obviously overplaying the fact. I imagine just what everyone is doing is they are overplaying the fact that you said you were going to scale down your amount of time spent online and that you said you were quitting your podcasts. It's jumping it up. Yeah, obviously not actually quitting the internet. It's like hyperbole. It's just okay. Is this all the video is? Are we going to hear more about the debate? Let's talk about the debate. Let's talk about your points in the debate. Okay, no one's interested in you debunking the idea that you're quitting the internet. Okay.
But instead of like Tyler Durden, I have fucking Charles Turden here that's just making wrong announcements. It turns out the patient zero behind all of this was a post Jackson made announcing that I would be leaving the podcasts, which is something I thought about periodically for quite a few months now, mainly because I started to recognize that I was becoming the very thing I'd make fun of with being chronically online. Like, I just was always online, and the podcasts were a big proponent of that, and I just kind of wanted to scale back the amount of time I spend online, so... And I kept Jackson in the loop the whole time here about where my head was at, and last week I told him, hey man, I think this is going to be where I hang up the jersey, you can put it in the rafters, throw it in the dumpster, but I think I'm just going to be, you know, sailing off into the sunset here and just reducing the amount of stuff I do online. which he completely understood. So he made the announcement the whole time here about online, and the podcasts were a big proponent of that, and I just kind of wanted to scale back the amount of time I spend online. And I kept Jackson in the loop the whole time here about where my head was at, and last week I told him, hey man, I think this is going to be where I hang up the jersey. You can put it in the rafters, throw it in the dumpster, but I think I'm just going to be, sailing off into the sunset here and just reducing the amount of stuff I do online, which he completely understood. So he made the announcement just letting...
Okay, so yeah, so I mean, what people were actually saying was accurate then. Okay, so there's no...
people know that. And then that got spun on Twitter and Reddit as MoistCritikal's taking an indefinite hiatus and quitting the internet fundamentally. Don't know when I'll be back. He's done with the internet because of all this controversy. Patooey on his grave. He's gone. When looking at the post, I don't even know where that's coming from.
Dude, he's actually so cut up about this. Dude, why is he making this video?
It's literally just talking about the podcast and me just stepping away. Like, it doesn't extend beyond that. I can't even wrap my tiny noodle around how anyone could perceive this as me being done with the internet entirely, but that's the story that they ran with, and that's what most people saw, not the actual...
I don't think most people are saying it. Have people really been saying that? People are saying he's completely quit the internet. Have people really been saying that? I haven't heard that. Maybe I'm wrong.
Post. So everyone thought I was quitting the internet, so I posted that video that I was really happy with because it just felt like an OG old school video that made me happy. And then bang! Just a flood of comments and dislikes all saying shit like, how could you fucking deceive us? I thought you quit, huh? What happened to leaving, huh? I just read this post on Twitter from an account that had a profile pic of titties photoshopped onto Thomas Edison that said you were done, and it had 50,000 likes, so I know it was true, and you're just a fucking liar. I can't even just peacefully walk away from some projects without it being a massive fucking reaction over actual...
Because it's like within a week of your really terrible debate performance that you've spent several streams coping about, and you've said that this has been the worst week you've had online in your entire career. What do you mean you can't understand this? Like, what are you confused about here?
Nothing burger information. And trust me, no one has a palate more refined for nothing burgers than me. I have ranted about the stupidest shit of all time, but this was mind-boggling even for me. So to set the record straight, no, I'm not retiring, despite what the experts are telling you. All I did was walk away from a couple of projects. Like, that's really it. Like, that's a pretty normal thing to do, especially when one of them I've been doing for like 8 years. I really didn't think it was that deep, especially not deep enough for how big of a story it's become with all of the wild narratives running around about the true reason that I stopped doing it. So let's get into that drama. I've talked about it on stream, I don't even know how many times at this point, but we'll just talk about all...
I mean, it's not just the Sneako stuff either, is it? Like, the official podcast has been in kind of like controversy recently too, right? Because they've been beefing with like DGG. Like, everyone's been going for Kaya. Like, it's obviously, it seems like it's probably a point of stress for you. And you're trying to step away from the internet more, so you're less involved, so you're feeling less of the backlash. I mean, maybe he's got some compelling reason for why he actually left the podcast, but we'll see, okay? I'm not
all of it in this video here. So, when covering the Ava Tyson situation, I was attacked by a lot of people for not being quick enough. Even though I covered it within like the first 6 hours, people were unsatisfied that I hadn't made a video within like the first fucking 20 minutes of it dropping. And then when I did finally finish the full video covering all of it, it was another massive problem where now I only did it out of an obligation because people called me out, and then I also got accused of being a transphobe because I didn't use Ava Tyson's preferred pronouns, which were she, her. I didn't know that. I thought just calling Ava Tyson by her name was okay, and I had also heard when I went to the Mr. Beast thing, someone refer to Ava Tyson with they. So I was truly under the impression that that was okay. And for that, I was annihilated by a good chunk of Twitter. And then annihilated by another good chunk of Twitter because I called out Sneako, who was the main proponent about me covering for Mr. Beast to keep the collab alive. I wasn't talking about Ava Tyson because I wanted the Mr. Beast collab. And I talked about how absurd that statement was, especially given his history with fighting against the age of consent. He's been very vocal about how much he hates the age of consent, And so I talked about that briefly at the end of the video, which then changed the whole narrative for a lot of people, where I never talked about Ava Tyson and only talked about Sneako. So it was a complete lose-lose, because if I didn't talk about what Sneako was saying, I would have been called a coward for not addressing it and talking about, like, well, he was going to cover for Mr. Beast until Sneako called him out. So, like, if I didn't do it, I would have been attacked. I did do it, still got attacked. It really was unwinnable. But from that spawned a conversation where I talked to Sneako directly, because he was very upset that I was talking about how him...
Okay, it just was like, yeah, he's just... Yes, you're always going to be criticized online. Yes, there's always going to be some amount of people criticizing you, especially when there's a contentious issue. Yes. Why is it giving you the... Why is it giving you a mental breakdown? What's... I don't understand what I'm supposed to take from any of this right now.
Him rallying against the age of consent is pedophile arguments, like defending pedophilia. As I've said since the very beginning of this channel, I'm always willing to engage with people I disagree with, and I thought that maybe there was a chance I misunderstood what he was trying to say, even though it's still...
exactly, right? One side was saying this, and the other side was saying the opposite. No shit. I just... What relevance does this have to anything that's going on? Please, just maybe just give him the story. Maybe we'll get more detail here. Let's see.
Still abhorrent.
We're 6 minutes in. It's just taking it. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to take from this.
I thought, okay, maybe he's not actually trying to defend pedophilia. He's like some kind of pseudo-intellectual debate bro who's trying to say something else. So I was willing to hear him out on it, and I talked to him in DMs.
No, he just believes in Islam. he's preaching Islam. I mean, arguably believes. He's preaching Islam. That's what it is, Charlie. It's not complicated.
Abhorrent. I thought, okay, maybe he's not actually trying to defend pedophilia. He's like some kind of pseudo-intellectual debate bro who's trying to say something else. So I was willing to hear him out on it, and I talked to him in DMs, and he said he doesn't believe in the age of consent. He believes in the age of marriage, can't assign a number to it, but said that when someone can legally drive, they should be able to marry at the same time, which is literally like a 15 or 16-year-old, because you get your permanent 15.
Retard. Why wouldn't you just say, well, would you be okay with moving the age of driving up? And then Sneako could just say, oh, yeah, probably. But, like, I mean, the fundamental argument there makes sense, right? Is that you can do a lot more damage to yourself and others by, you know, recklessly driving than you can recklessly having sex. I think is the point, right? So he's saying that the standard for responsibility is inconsistent. It doesn't make any sense. That's the point he's getting to. He's not saying 15 and 16-year-olds should definitely be able to... yeah, okay.
Your license at 16, and both are way too young to be marrying. That shit is completely unacceptable. It is downright disgusting. He then said that he was happy to discuss it in a call, which I said I was willing to hear him out.
Oh, wait, no. Sneako's baiting him hard here. Wait, no, look. So, yeah. So he reads this bit. People should legally drive and marry at the same age. Is that driver's permit age 15 or driver's license age 16? As Muslims, we believe it's our duty to follow the law of the land. It wasn't a spiritual question. I have no issue with any faith at all. This is a personal belief question that your response didn't answer. I'm happy to discuss this with you in a call if you're like curious. Oh, man. What a piece of shit.
Out on, and he said that he would do it later because he was outside doing an IRL stream in Turkey. So I was willing to hear him out, because again, if this is some kind of crazy misunderstanding, I'd like to know that, because it'd be really fucking scary for someone in his position with his level of influence to be actually advocating for adults marrying and fucking children. That's a...
Dude, I'm sorry, but... someone with his level of influence to be advocating for this. Do you not think there's people with way more influence to advocating the same thing? Because plenty of it, I guarantee you could find so many imams that are very high, that have a lot of influence. Same energy, Charlie, or is it just because it's Sneako you can get away with attacking? Or will there be some actual... Or would you apply that standard wholly? No, it's not F, it's back. It's back already. Back already. No, not really, lol. You're completely lost. You're completely lost. Plenty of Muslims, plenty of imams absolutely believe in the age of marriage and will defend Muhammad marrying Aisha at 6 and consummating at 9. Plenty of Muslims, plenty of Imams. It's just the case.
A huge problem. That's a big fucking problem. So if there was something that he was like trying to say but failing to do so, I was willing to at least hear it. And this is where the infamous debate came from. The debate that people are calling the debate of the century. I'm kidding, not a single soul on the planet said that. It's actually one of the most dogshit debates I think human beings have ever had. He eventually called me on Discord. I was under the impression this was just him and I talking. I had no idea this was going to be a debate. I thought he was going to try and explain himself like, hey, no, this isn't actually what I meant. This is what I'm trying to say. I thought this was a conversation between him and I, not this kind of debate show that he was putting on for his audience. There is nothing...
Mad and raped. Mad and raped. Sorry, this is just always pathetic when you come around afterwards, you're like, oh, they were using debate tactics. It was just a show. It was just performance. No, dude, like, you lost on the merits of the arguments. I'm sorry, but as disgusting as Sneako's position is, as much as I disagree with the Islamic idea of the age of marriage, his arguments were better, and for you to come on fucking video later, like, oh, it was just a debate show, when you literally, you could not back up and have not been able to think through on your stream or anything the positions that you hold. You can't just call it a show. No, you've got to actually show that you understand what you're saying and what you believe. Demonstrate that you can reason through it. We'll see. Maybe he manages in this. He demonstrates that, actually, I was just on the spot. I do understand these things. I can reason through these arguments. I can know the consistent belief. We'll see.
In our DMs that indicated that's where it was going. When I joined the call, he asked if I was going to record it, to which I said, I can if he wants me to, but I was also down to just talk. So I thought maybe he wanted it as a recording to, like, explain to people, like, no, he's not actually a pedophile defender or advocating for that kind of thing. So I thought that is why he asked. I didn't know it was because it was being streamed. Especially because one of his last DMs was about how he's doing an outside IRL stream and he would call me after. To me that says when he's done streaming, that's when we'll talk, not as a part of his stream. I didn't know this was a debate nor a stream until about an hour and 40 into it, roughly somewhere in that ballpark. I am not a debater. I've never claimed...
Wait, what? That's completely different to what he said the other day. He said he realized it was on stream when he joined. Okay.
Actually a pedophile...
maybe that's the case. I would say he's
defender
lying,
or
but...
advocating for that kind of thing. So I thought that is why he asked. I didn't know it was because it was being streamed. Especially because one of his last DMs was about how he's doing an outside IRL stream and he would call me after. To me that says when he's done streaming, that's when we'll talk, not as a part of his stream. I didn't know this was a debate nor a stream until about an hour and 40 into it, roughly somewhere in that ballpark. I am not a debater. I've never claimed to be one. I never want to be a debater. I've always said that I believe...
But it's not just about debating, because you've had multiple streams after the fact to reason through what you think and why you think it, and you've repeatedly flip-flopped and said insane shit that's pissed off both sides. So it's not about being a debater. He's been shown to have a complete lack of understanding of the positions he espouses. That's like, all right, man.
Conversations are the most productive because debates always devolve into what side can score the most points by explaining their thought process, even if the position is wrong. Whereas a conversation...
Dude. How can you say the position is wrong if you can't explain the arguments? This is the problem. You can't say that the position is wrong if you can't reason through the arguments. Dude.
Always devolve into what side can score the most points by explaining their thought process, even if the position is wrong. Whereas a conversation is a very different thing to me. So I didn't even know that's what this was. So obviously I was unprepared for a fucking debate. So I entered into the Thunderdome and we started talking. I made it clear that I found his statements on the age of consent and children marrying adults being fucking hideous. Absolutely revolting. Wow. And then he started arguing about, well, what is a child? We must define a child, you know. It's not actually being under 18. It's all a bunch of hooey. And I really think if you have to start arguing about, well, what technically...
Dude, this is pathetic. Oh, well, I think there's a problem if you even have to start arguing about it. Dude, this is pathetic. What?
For a fucking debate. So I entered into the Thunderdome and we started talking. I made it clear that I found his statements on the age of consent and children marrying adults being fucking hideous. Absolutely revolting. And then he started arguing about, well, what is a child? We must define a child, you know.
He's so
it's
dumb.
not actually being under 18. It's all a bunch of hooey. And I really think if you have to start arguing about, well, what technically is a child? You're already way too far gone. Like, that is so fucking weird. And in no uncertain terms, multiple times throughout the debate, Sneako says that he is okay with people that are aged 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 marrying adults that are 18 or older.
We're talking globally. Let's just talk globally.
Wait.
People that are aged 12 multiple times throughout 14, 15, 16 marrying adults that are 18 or older.
Why is he saying why is he only saying up to 16? Why is he only saying up to 16? You said that someone was a pedophile even if they were 18 or 19 fucking a 17-year-old. That's what you said, wasn't it, Charlie? What clips are you going to show us? What clips is he going to show us? I wonder.
Marrying adults that are 18 or older.
We're talking globally. Let's just talk globally. Like, do you think it is okay for... I'm not talking about just you specifically anymore. Anyone. Do you think it's okay for anyone in their 20s, an adult, to marry a 15 or 16-year-old?
So we are clips, not mags here, okay, James Hansen?
A 21-year-old, if there was a marriage where the father consented and the daughter consented, and it was both good on both families and they wanted to do it, why am I going to get involved? Why should we get the government involved?
Even get back a little bit. Do you think there's not a problem with a child being with an adult?
Okay. We haven't even agreed upon what a child and an adult is. You keep saying that it's 18.
Under 18
That's
is child.
And I'm
Over 18
telling
is
you,
adult.
that's not even the definition of the word.
What is the number?
I just
There
told
needs to be a number, or else you can do the same thing.
I just told you there's not a number.
But do you see why that's a problem?
No.
If there's no defined... So why can't a 12-year-old marry an 18-year-old?
Because most 12-year-olds haven't gone through puberty yet. And most 12-year-olds...
What if, as you just said, it changes. What if a 12-year-old went through puberty early, the parents consent, the 18-year-old and the parents consent? Can they do it?
Most likely that's not going to happen. You know why? Because Islamically, if
we're not talking most likely, just say it.
If the families have consented, the kid is mature, the kid is ready.
Is this really... Is he going to exclusively clip the bits where Sneako looked bad? Is that going to be it? Oh, man! Oh, man! No way he actually pulled this. That's crazy. He exclusively grabbed the bits where Sneako looks bad. Oh, my God.
Why should I stop
At 12 years old. At 12 years old.
If the kid is physically mature, the parents consent, both parties are happy.
A 12-year-old being physically mature.
If that's the only line that actually makes sense.
Again, I don't think a 14-year-old can ever be physically mature.
Mm-hmm. Even though they literally can. Even though puberty actually defines that, it's fine.
I don't believe so. I was 14 once.
Calm down, you're acting like Charlie is justifying a kid chopping his dick off.
But I actually had a mustache when I was 14. Would you have looked at me and said I was physically mature enough to get married?
If you were physically mature, if you were mature, yes, I would. Okay.
Really? When I was 14.
Yeah. If you were 14 and you were ready to go and you met another 14-year-old, yes, I would.
No. We're talking adults. You keep going back to that.
That is adult.
I met...
I told you my definition. I told you the definition. The definition, okay. If you went through puberty, you're an adult. That's the definition of adult. So yes, if you're an adult and you had a mustache, you're ready to get married, fine. Okay?
Unironically saying a 14-year-old adult, I think, would make most sensible people want to puke. There's so many instances of this.
Like, it's just, again, it's just literally appealing to, if you say this, you're a pedophile. If you say this, you're a pedophile. Like, dude, you have not shown an ability to engage with any argument whatsoever. Dude, it's so weak. It's so weak.
This, and a lot of the conversation was spent with him talking about, like, overseas age of consent, like talking about how Japan's age of consent was 13 for the longest time, this and that. But the whole thing was like pulling teeth, and it was fucking painful. And I think it's extremely alarming perspective to have. Unironically calling a 14-year-old and 12-year-old mature enough for a marriage, those are middle schoolers. Like, holy shit. I
Oh
think
my
that is
God.
extremely
Shut
concerning
up.
to be advocating for something like that. Like, would
Guys,
Sneako be...
pedophiles bad, by the way, guys. By the way, child molesters and pedophiles are bad. You guys didn't know that. Child molesters and pedophiles are bad. Literally, not what anyone took away from that debate. No, 90% of people, 95% of people already fucking think Sneako is so beyond retarded and not worth listening to. There is no point ever listening to Sneako. That is what 95% of people think. So no one cares that Sneako is saying, oh, actually, I think you should be able to fuck kids. No one cares. The thing that was interesting about it, the thing that people are talking about, is the fact that Charlie failed to argue against that. The fact that Sneako ran rings around him, and the fact that Charlie was debated into by someone advocating for borderline pedophilia, not actual pedophilia, because pedophilia is technically prepubescent. Borderline pedophilia, managed to debate you into saying 9-year-olds should be able to get their dicks cut off and that you would talk to Nick Fuentes. That's the narrative, Charlie. I don't...
okay if his best friend ended up marrying a 14-year-old? He certainly shouldn't be. No one should be okay with something like that. Like, that's fucking terrible. That is actually terrible.
So, but now, yeah, so what do you think about Islam, Charlie? What do you think about Islam? Can I get your thoughts on Islam real quick? What do you think about Muhammad marrying Aisha at age 6 and consummating age 9? How are you feeling about that? Thoughts? Thoughts? Opinions?
Now, since I wasn't like holding him to this topic or making sure it stayed on the topic I thought we were talking about, it went all over the place with a ton of different things, but the big one, and this is what most people have focused on, which was my response to his question about kids transitioning. And the way he would pose that question would be by asking if I thought it was okay if kids who want to switch their gender go to the doctor and get their dick cut off. Is it okay if a 9-year-old goes to a doctor and gets their cock cut off right then and there? And when posed with that question, I replied with yes. And I've talked about this on stream many, many times now, and I'll talk about it again here.
Okay, Vamps, I don't even think that's true. 13 was illegal in Japan for anyone under 19, 16 for other age groups. That might have been in the prefectures or whatever. They had laws for that, but no, the age of consent in Japan was 13. There were probably laws that were implemented over time that changed the conditions of that in the district, or whatever they call the provinces or whatever. But no, the age of consent by the law in Japan was 13.
I thought he was talking in hyperbole.
I'm pretty sure that was
I thought
he
was just exaggerating, being over the top, talking about the entire subject of transitioning. I had no idea that any living, breathing human being actually thought that that's how transitioning works. Where you just go into a doctor saying, I feel like switching genders, and they lay you down on the operating table and just snip your whole fucking meat off. I didn't thought that I had no idea that any living, breathing human being actually thought that that's how transitioning works. Where you just go into a doctor saying, I feel like switching genders, and they lay you down on the operating table and just snip your whole fucking meat off. I didn't know that.
That's obviously, dude, it's total inability to engage in a hypothetical. He was very clearly asking you, should they be able to get this surgery at 9? Should that be able to happen? When they are 9, should they be able to get the surgery? Not happens in one day. That wasn't part of the condition. But simply, at age 9, should someone be able to get this surgery? And you said yes. Unequivocally, you said yes.
That's what he actually...
It's so much muddying of the water, but I don't even know that the muddying of the water here is malicious. I think he's actually this fucking stupid. I have no reason to believe he's intelligent enough to consciously manipulate this. There's absolutely... He's just a fucking idiot.
Believed. I didn't know he was speaking literally. I thought he was just referring to the entire process of transitioning and just using this over-the-top statement to encapsulate all of it. Because you literally cannot get that surgery unless you are 18. Yeah, like, you actually have to go out of your way to be that stupid on the topic than you would just spending a couple of seconds looking it up. There are very rare cases where someone under 18 has had that surgery performed. That's not...
Okay, it's not even necessarily true, because people under 18 that are intersex that have medical health complications are going to have surgeries like that. Oh. It's just like, he's so dumb on everything. Oh my god.
Common. So I really didn't think that someone could be so dumb on the topic. I thought he was just speaking in hyperbole, which is my mistake. I should have been more clear instead of making an assumption that he was talking about something nuanced in an over-the-top way. I haven't hid this take, and it's not a new take from me. I've talked about this a couple times throughout the years on stream. I have no complaints if a kid...
Yeah, I believe that Charlie thought chop your meat off actually meant social transitioning. Very believable angle, Charlie.
Kid gets interested in transitioning and starts talking to their family about it. So their parents start talking to doctors, the kid starts talking to doctors and therapists and all of this, because the process of transitioning is one that takes place over the course of many years. It's not something that just happens like that. And I'm also not afraid to admit that I am not the most educated when it comes to transitioning. I am not someone that has a ton of knowledge about the subject to be speaking on it in a really in-depth manner. But even I know these...
Then why stake out hard positions? Then why it's so obvious why he's staking out hard positions. Because he's trying to appeal to the audience. He's trying to say the right thing. If you're not that educated, when you're asked, should a 9-year-old be able to get their dick cut off, why don't you say, oh, I'm not really sure about that. I would probably have to research more into that and see what doctors say about it before I make any statement on that. Why not just say that? But no, you wanted to say, no, trans rights. You wanted to say that because that's the audience you were trying to appease.
Very surface level things that everyone has easy access to understand. It is a long process, and I have no problems at all if a kid gets interested in that process and starts going through that process with proper care. And then when they reach the age where they can consider that surgery and decide they want to do it, then that's all power to them. That's entirely up to them. They have reached that age. They can now do that surgery if they want to. That is not a surgery that's being offered to like a 9-year-old who just says, I feel like changing genders today. It's just not how it works. And I didn't think that that's what was actually being discussed because it's so fucking silly. Now, I'm sure there's some really fringe cases you can point to where that kind of thing did happen, but it's not common. Thus, I didn't think that's what was being referred to in the conversation. And it is, again, my mistake for not recognizing that at that moment, it was being spoken about literally. So all that shit that people keep dogpiling and spouting about me.
Okay, even if you thought it was hyperbolic, if you're now saying you don't think under 18s should or are getting sex reassignment surgery, surely you at least recognized in the moment that that question was about those surgeries happening under 18, was about them happening to children. That was, sure, you might have thought it was hyperbolic, but you must have at least recognized that part. This is just not, this is very unbelievable as an angle. Yeah. I said earlier, it's not a believable angle at all. Because I felt like he must have known. You have to have gotten that much from that question. That it's about kids getting surgery. That is very obviously the point.
Me about how I want all kids to go out there and get their genitals chopped off is just fucked up. It's so ridiculous. I recognize I did a horrible job of arguing in this debate, which isn't surprising considering I don't debate. This is not something that's in my skill set, which of course led to some embarrassingly dog shit arguments, like the one I've seen people reference a couple times.
Okay. Maybe a little bit here. Let's see.
Of course led to some embarrassingly dog shit arguments, like the one I've seen people reference a couple times is when I briefly mentioned sports in this topic. It was a stupid point to try and make. I was getting hit by like some rebound psychic damage listening to some of the drivel brain rot that Sneako was spouting about the age of consent.
Yeah, oh my god. He can't just own it. He has to turn it around. This is for people that don't remember. What he's referring to here is he compared transitioning as a child to choosing a sport in school or choosing a sport to practice as a kid. And he is now saying, well, it was actually Sneako's fault for being so stupid. That's why I said all this stuff.
And I don't know why I thought this was like an argument to try and make, but I brought up sports in this subject, and I was going to try and elaborate on it, but didn't at all. What I was going to try and say is that when a kid gets interested in a sport, they'll talk to their parents about it, they'll research the sport, you know, go through the process of learning about it. And when it comes to transitioning, it's still a process where you talk to your family about it, you learn about it. Like, it wasn't a point where I was trying to say, well, changing genders is a lot like picking between baseball and soccer. Like, it's not what I was trying to get at, but because I didn't elaborate on it and it really wasn't a good argument to try and make in the first place, that's one people have harped on a lot. And I get it. Like I said, I am not a debater. Like, I didn't go in here expecting a debate. So I had nothing prepared here for this inundation of outrageous questions and tangents. Like, there was a point where Sneako was trying to get me to say white power. Like, the whole thing was a fucking mess. It was.
Yeah, that's fucking funny. Well, that's funny.
Without a doubt, probably the worst debate that video has ever been cursed with. And I really regret not doing a better job here. It's not something I should have even done in the first place. I just have a tendency to really hope for the best out of people. And I was really...
Okay, so wait, he literally named one argument that he thought was retarded, didn't even repeat it fully, and then blamed Sneako being dumb for why he said it. And now we're moving on.
Been cursed with. And I really regret not doing a better job here. It's not something I should have even done in the first place. I just have a tendency to really hope for the best out of people, and I was...
And now it's crying that, oh, I just treat people too nice. I'm just too nice to people. Okay, retard. Okay, retard.
Really hoping that...
This is gonna work on his gay fucking audience. Please stay, bro. Please stay, bro. Not gonna work on me, Charlie. Not gonna work on me, Charlie.
I and most people were wrong about Sneako's perspective on the age of consent. However, unfortunately, it doesn't appear to be the case. He was very adamant about this position, and I did a terrible job in arguing with him, and I did a terrible job of articulating my beliefs. I am supportive of the LGBTQ+, and I have been, and that's not something I've been shy about. I just wish I did a better job of expressing that. To be open and honest here, and I've talked about this a lot, I've always treated my channel kind of like a diary for myself, which is why I just talk about so much different nonsense and so many things that I know a lot of people don't give a fuck about, but some of it's fun for me to talk about, or some of it's just things I care about. So being totally honest, I used to treat the internet as an escape from my dog shit real life.
Oh
Truly
my god.
Unhappy, really
my god.
most of everything about myself.
Dude.
And the internet was my escape from it. But now it's really become that real life is the escapism for me now. Like, I love posting and creating things, but I don't like interacting with the internet around me anymore. And it's something that I started to realize a couple months ago, and I've talked about it on stream a little bit, how because I've covered so many like drama stories and everything, it's pretty much all that I ever get told about when I'm streaming, and it's become such a massive headache, and it's just constant negativity that I'm fully flooded with, like at all hours. Like, I am in like this human centipede of eating someone's ass while having my ass eaten, with even more things that I'm being demanded to like talk about, where everything just feels like a lose-lose, and it has been for like the last 6 or 8 months, I feel, where if I talk about something, it's a problem. Even if something is cut and dry, as like Critikal having sex with a 17-year-old being bad, I caught a lot of shit for that too. I'm sure a lot of people probably didn't see that, but man, the
You were calling him a pedophile on Sneako's stream the other day. Okay, man.
amount of emails I got and a lot of the things I was seeing, even something is cut.
Not just did he call Critikal a pedophile when talking to Sneako, he then got debated back out of calling him a pedophile. He was debated into calling Critikal a pedophile, and then Sneako debated him out of calling him a pedophile within the space of about 3 minutes. And you wonder why you're catching shit for your takes on this.
Cut and dry as that was an issue when I talked about it. And then if I don't talk about something, or if I don't talk about something fast enough in the time that some people think is appropriate, I'm then accused of covering up for something for an ulterior evil motive. So it just really feels like a rock and a hard place where, regardless, it's just going to be a massive flood of negativity. And a huge critique of me that I've always seen is Charlie's a fence sitter. He's just a fucking fence-sitting, enlightened, centrist cuck, this and that. And I've always said for the entire time I've been on the internet, I'm not special. I'm literally just a normal guy who got...
Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up.
Very lucky. I just sit here, joke about shit, talk about my opinion on things and nothing else. I don't have a unique perspective on things. I don't have deep insight into the vicissitudes of certain things. I am literally just a guy who yaps, has some fun, talks about shit, does some wacky stuff as well, and that's it. It's just not that deep. But because everything is
Guys, stop criticizing me. It's not that deep.
so inflammatory and charged online, it's being perceived in the last, I'd say like the last 2 years, it's really popped off as me making deliberate attempts to appease both sides and play right down the middle to soak up as much as possible. Like it's all this like nefarious scheme where I'm doing.
It's not even about being nefarious. I think it's become pretty clear over the last couple of days. He's just a total bitch. And if people start shouting at him, he feels like he has to change his opinion.
Doing this with my hands, and I just don't understand how it's become so incendiary where that's apparently like a really bad thing now. My opinion is not special, and my opinion isn't one that's pandering to any sides or catering to anything. It's literally just whatever's up here. I sit down for like 30 to 45 minutes on like a topic or like a video that I'm joking around about, and I talk about it. I am legitimately just an average, well, below average height guy who's about to turn 30. I'm not just spitting hot takes out the wazoo here. I'm just being myself. That's all this channel ever has
This
been.
is so pathetic. What am I watching? What am I watching here? I'm just trying to be myself and everyone's hating on me. Dude, shut the fuck up.
And now it's become super controversial to do that if it's not like, you know, picking sides on everything, it seems. And it's very frustrating. For the longest time, it was just me having fun. And for the most part, it still is. But I've started to recognize over the last few months that some of the things I do just really aren't fun for me to do, and I've been doing them out of obligation. Mainly internet drama. When I initially started covering drama so many years ago now, it was fun.
Dude, this is a multi-millionaire. He can literally just stop. Any day, he can just not cover it. If there's a topic he doesn't want to talk about, something he doesn't want to weigh in on, he can just not. If he stopped working completely today, he could still be set for the rest of his life. He could do anything he wants. And he's sitting there crying like, oh, it's just not fun to be on internet drama anymore. Shut up, dude. Shut up.
Really aren't fun for me to do, and I've been doing them out of obligation. Mainly internet drama. When I initially started covering drama so many years ago now, it was fun because it wasn't as serious. Like the stories were a lot, you know, more quirky. It was easy to get invested because it was kind of just like a soap opera, like a really dumb soap opera. But recently it's been much more serious, and I feel the need to talk about it.
Has it? Has it? There's always been a mix of controversies of different size and importance, right?
They say women hit the wall at 30, but like Keffels, Charlie is a man.
Okay, well that's not very good, is it? I don't think you should be saying like that. Thank you, though, for the...
about these things because a lot of them are extremely serious with very important topics to discuss. But it has become draining. As much as I never wanted to admit it, I've started to recognize that my mood is immediately impacted by whatever I read on Twitter in the morning. If that's some horrible stuff about a creator or what have you, it immediately affects...
That's true, that's true. When I woke up the other day and I saw a movie, shit talking knocks on Chud's stream, I was fucking, you have no idea.
My entire day and my whole outlook on the day. Now I know, call the wambulance, get some French fries, just fucking whining about having to talk about drama. What a stupid...
You're whining about having to talk about it when you don't have to talk about it. You literally, you don't have to talk about it at all. There's no obligation. You're not like worried about making the next bill. You're not worried about making rent this month, are you? Just stop.
Problem to be upset about. But I'm just trying to explain that it hasn't been as fun recently. It hasn't. And the main thing, if you've been around the channel for a while, is I've always wanted this to be fun and never feel like a job. And as hard as it is for me to admit,
Oh no, guys, sorry. The multimillionaire feels like he's working a job. Sorry, guys. Oh no, the multimillionaire feels like he's working a job, guys. Oh, what a shame. The multimillionaire who runs a bunch of businesses feels like he has a job. Please, get me out.
admit this, a lot of this kind of stuff, it has just started to feel like less fun and more of, well, gotta do this because I'm expected to. Like, anytime I go live, most of chat is just telling me about the latest in whatever's happening in the creator space or some other, like, extremely negative thing going on. And it's like, okay, well, I'm going to have to learn all about that once I turn stream off. So then I spend a few hours learning about these things, and it's all just really upsetting stuff. Like, it's not happy. It's all very sad, bad stuff. And it's been making me not happy. So I definitely think I'll be slowing down on covering internet-related drama or, like, drama in general. I'll still talk about, like, really
MoistCritical will be shutting the fuck up. Guys, we won. We won.
wacky stories and shit like that. But I definitely think I'm gonna be pumping the brakes on, like, the kind of drama I have been covering recently. And instead, I'm going to go back to focusing on the content that I'm most happy with. Like, if you ask me what content I'm most proud of throughout my entire time on this platform for the last, like, 17, 18 years, none of it would be drama coverage. It'd be things like Skynut. It'd be things like shooting a potato at a tennis racket to see if you can make french fries in midair by frying them in hot oil. It's shit like that. And I think I'm going to go back to that kind of stuff as opposed to the direction that I have been going recently.
Please,
so,
please,
yeah,
please,
this was...
please go back to fucking around with dildos and tennis bats and shit in your fucking garden with your friends. Please stay the fuck away from drama. I never want to hear a take about a drama from this guy again. I never want to hear a politics take from this guy again. I never want to hear a culture issue take from this guy again. Please, 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 holy fuck. Just go play with dildos in your garden. I'm begging.